Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you. And on behalf of LafargeHolcim and the LafargeHolcim Foundation, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to Detroit. It really gives me an enormous pleasure to be here with such an incredibly diverse, international, brilliant group as yourselves. And I'd also like to extend a special welcome to our board members of the LafargeHolcim Foundation who are here, and to many of my colleagues at LafargeHolcim who are here to engage with you all as well. As you've seen in the opening video, we're delighted that so many innovative thinkers, experienced professionals, and visionary architects and engineers have gathered here for the 5th International Forum of the LafargeHolcim Foundation. At this forum, we will explore the topic of infrastructure space, a critical topic for our future. The word infrastructure has a broad definition. Infrastructure systems facilitate the flows of goods, resources, people, and information. These days, that can apply as much to technology as it does to construction. In our sector, the term still conjures up images of a more conventional, practical kind. In fact, LafargeHolcim was founded on the basis of some of the world's great infrastructure projects. For instance, more than 150 years ago, our company pulled out all the stops to deliver 200,000 tons of hydraulic lime to Egypt. That order helped build the Suez Canal. It also helped build the business that today is LafargeHolcim. All those years later, the Suez Canal remains a wonder of the world. And LafargeHolcim remains involved in upgrading infrastructure in the Suez Canal even today, including the construction of 6 tunnels some 50 meters underneath the waterway as they're renovating the complete Suez Canal corridor. The canal has certainly stood the test of time, but a good deal of that has changed since our business forefathers fulfilled that contract in 1864. For one thing, we no longer deliver cement in wooden barrels. We've progressed a little bit since then. Today, our industry is much more aware of the impact that the construction life cycle can have on individuals, on communities, and our environment, and on the planet itself. At LafargeHolcim, sustainability is a core value and central to how our business is run. When we put the company together in July of 2015, we defined a number of core values, and we put sustainability as one of our core values that we want to build LafargeHolcim around for the future. And appropriately, it's also the mission of the LafargeHolcim Foundation. Last month, we published a new sustainability strategy as LafargeHolcim. We're calling it our 2030 plan. It underscores our determination to be a leader, both in terms of performance and policy development, focusing on those areas where we can make a significant impact. The 2030 plan sets out a series of hard-edged commitments across 4 categories: climate, circular economy, water and nature, and then people and communities. And under the climate heading, we have committed to reduce the amount of CO2 per ton of cement we produced by 40% compared to our 1990 benchmark. And in the same 2030 timeframe, we want to help our customers cut their CO2 output by 10 million tons per annum through the use of innovative solutions like low-carbon concrete and cement, thermal mass solutions, and insulating products. And it's not just about combating climate change. In other categories, we've committed to use significantly more waste-derived resources in our operations, 80 million tons a year by 2030. Plus, we've made an undertaking to cut specific freshwater withdrawal by 30% in our cement operations. And we also want 75 million people around the world to benefit from our initiatives such as affordable housing and sanitation. Individually and collectively, the commitments in our plan are important. However, what I believe distinguishes us from the rest of our sector is an overarching business target to generate 1/3 of business turnover by 2030 from solutions with enhanced sustainability performance. It's central to our priorities going forward. Taking part in the recent COP21 meeting in Paris brought home to me the opportunity and the responsibility to make a positive difference through the way we do business. Crucially, it's also underlined that sustainability in the construction sector is not the preserve of one organization or one profession. As a company, we can only achieve so much with the targets that we've set out. However, we need to go well beyond our fence line. We all need to go on beyond the fence lines that we traditionally operate in. That means working together. That means meetings like this here today, where we work together across the whole value chain with everyone who has ideas to unlock opportunities and solve problems. If I may, I'd like to illustrate this point with a couple of projects that are near to home for us. The first is the construction of the London 2012 Olympic Park in the UK. Classic infrastructure project, you may think, a big stadium, a big park. But what made this project different was a very public commitment from the beginning on behalf of London 2012 to host the world's first sustainable Olympics. So sustainability was dialed in right from the start of the planning. We had a role in supplying ready-mix concrete and aggregates for the entire 200-hectare construction site. And central to this was our ability to minimize CO2 through the use of more sustainable transport. 90% of material was moved by rail or barge, and we offered products that maximize the use of recycled materials, including aggregates. At the other end of the spectrum, but no less impressive, is the Green Building Center's partnership in India. It's an effective and simple business model established by our operation in India, working with local entrepreneurs in chiefly rural areas. The Green Building Centers provide local masons with access to training and sustainable construction technology that minimizes the use of fuel and precious materials such as topsoil. In turn, this develops the local skill base, it leads to improvements in the stock of affordable housing, and it provides an impetus for the local economy, while all at the same time reducing CO2 emissions. We see a lot of potential in this model, and we plan to increase the number of centers in India in coming years. Our efforts in affordable housing receive a boost from our recently launched DuraBrick technology. Developed in our R&D center in Lyon, France, DuraBrick is a compressed earth block that uses local soil combined with cement and water to form affordable, durable, and weather-resistant bricks. And this is achieved without the need for burning, as often is the cause of significant deforestation in many countries around the world. In communities facing both climate-related and housing challenges, this kind of locally made building solution can make a massive difference. So there's plenty of evidence, and we have many more, that the worlds of construction and infrastructure are embracing sustainability, but we have to go much further. I've offered a couple of examples, but I'm sure you have many of your own as well. There's so much more we have to go after. Some of that will remain out of reach until we address incentives for change at a global level. And international policy can be certainly a dry subject, but it's fundamental to this story as well. For example, LafargeHolcim believes that putting a price on carbon will spur efforts to tackle global climate change across the construction sector. Attributing a value to carbon usage would act as an incentive for innovation, supporting investment in technologies and solutions that drive down CO2 emissions. It'll be a great incentive for many of the ideas that are going to come out of this forum over the next couple of days. We were encouraged by the references made to carbon pricing mechanisms at COP21. And over time, we'd like to see a convergence to a comparable level of carbon pricing, establishing a level playing field that fosters genuine international competition and supports optimal investment decisions. We want to compete on our ability to be the most sustainable. Success on this front would represent a vital step in efforts to make our increasingly populated and urbanized world more sustainable. We will continue to advance that argument whenever and wherever the opportunity arises. Now, before I conclude and hand over to Reed Kroloff, our host for the day, I'd like to bring the discussion back to this room to you all who are here with us in Detroit, thinking about the future, and to focus on what it is we can do. Stepping back, the challenges are obvious. We've got global urbanization in front of us. The world is urbanizing at an increasing pace, and global warming is the challenge of our times. These two great challenges, we must be able to rise to them, and how and where and how infrastructure is built to develop and address those two challenges is going to have a big impact on the world going forward. Sustainability has never been higher on our agenda or the agenda of the world. And there are inspiring examples of people and organizations from different disciplines coming together here to find solutions. And I'm proud, genuinely proud, of what the LafargeHolcim Foundation is providing in a platform to share and celebrate this thinking. But in general, the construction value chain remains fragmented. We must work together, harnessing all the relevant expertise to examine the full life cycle of buildings and infrastructure has to become the norm rather than the exception. That's where the opportunity lies to achieve a more sustainable future, which all begs one final question. Is there a better qualified and better equipped gathering and group of talent in one room to take on this challenge than the one assembled here today in Detroit? I can't think of one. So I urge you to seize this opportunity. Speaking for LafargeHolcim, you'll find us ready and willing to play our part in working with you to find the solutions for the future. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address you this morning. I especially thank you for your engagement and for being a part of this vital network and a catalyst for new thinking on infrastructure. It's only by working together that we can address the difficult challenges of tomorrow, of sustainable development, in the construction industry and beyond. And I look forward to the forthcoming presentations, to the contributions and the ideas that are going to come out of this meeting from every one of you, and to the thought-provoking exchange this forum promises. Thank you very much.